How is the sound going to be different from the first two Bo Bice albums?
I think the real thing was a very much a pop-oriented album, and I'm grateful for that opportunity to work with Clive Davis and a lot of those writers and things like that. On the sophomore album, it was more, I think, what people thought of me from the show. It was more southern rock music and almost kind of country style rock music. So this next album, I think, has a little bit more of the singer-songwriter element, maybe a little bit more of the country production to it, which I wasn't trying to do a country production to it. It just was really more about really fitting in whatever instruments we put on each song needed to really accent and fit uh, the entire arrangement. It wasn't, well, this would really sound like a country song if we put a fiddle in there
Right.
or a dobro in there. It was sitting around with my engineering and going, man, what really set this off is a dobro part would sound so haunting in this, and so I think one of the real exciting parts of that whole process was after finishing, the 5, 6 songs that we had and sit and digest them for a minute, and then kind of understand more. Wow, it's so nice to be able to build the music you love without kind of putting it down on paper and saying, okay, we're going to make it like this, and then that song's done, and we're going to move along. So it was really kind of a learning process for me the past couple of years in production, and things that I've always enjoyed doing, but I think delving into it at this level, it was something that it was like a couple of years of college, this past year. So it was a lot of fun.
College.
It was, man. Hey, I got into the music business so I didn't have to think. You
Okay.
know what I mean? But
I don't know if it always works out that way.
no, but it is. It's worked out great. I felt like it's really a nice perspective of what Bo Bice has been through in the past few years, but also where I see my music traveling in the future.
Okay. Well, now does this little bit of country production mean maybe we'll be hearing you next to Carrie on the country stations?
Oh my goodness gracious! If I was only lucky enough, would they play me next to Carrie Underwood, man?
Aw, yeah.
I love that girl so much. I'm so proud of her, and maybe someday, if at least I'm crossing into the country genre, they'll let us do another duet or something like that together. I'd just be happy with that.
Well, that would be pretty dreamy. I think that would be pretty cool.
I think it would be pretty cool too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Idol, we are on the eve of the beginning of season 9 of American Idol. And
Okay.
of course it's going to be different. There's no Paula. Everyone's talking about what will Ellen bring to the table. But in the past couple years, since your experience, what other changes have you seen? How do you think Idol is different now than it was in season 4?
Well, oh goodness,
Tough one, sorry.
it really is just kind of, well, it changes every year.
Yeah.
I think it's changed so much, but that's not only to do with the years since me. You have to look at the development of Idol since the beginning.
Sure.
From after Kelly, we had Clay and Ruben stuttered one, and Clay. I think the dynamic of that show was a very intriguing to have such a bold difference in those two performers. Then you look at the season 3 with Fantasia, really incredible crew there. Our year was the first year they ever had a band. Ricky Minor and the band. Before that, it was more track. It was track music. So I've always said that without that band, you probably wouldn't have seen people like Constantine and myself. Several different folks who had come from the band element.
Right.
So I don't think we would have made it as far at least.
Okay.
And so I look at the way that it's changed before me, but after me, they've been able to play instruments. They're able to, the wardrobes have definitely gotten a lot nicer a lot earlier. Things
Especially
like that.
this past season with the The wings.
Yeah, all the big things. It's like I can tell you they did not get those down at Wasteland on Melrose. You know, that's some special designer stuff. So it's changed a lot, but you have to understand with a show that is that huge, if you just kept it the same every year, people would get bored and wouldn't tune in.
Right.
So they have to change it up a little bit. Now, as far as changing it as much as Paula or Simon leaving, we've all heard tell that Simon might be leaving too. I think that you're really changing the whole scope of the show when either one of those leave.
Yeah.
But I think Ellen's going to do a great job. She's funny. She's a sweet girl, and if this is Simon's last year, then we're gonna love him to bits while he's here, and I'm sure he will not be hitting us up for any like borrowing any cash or
Probably not.
needing any laundry money. I think he's got a little chunk saved. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some good insights there.
You have heard it from Bo Stradamus himself.
Bo Stradamus. I love it. So, is there any chance that you'll be performing maybe this season on one of the results shows? Might we see you?
I would love to. Anytime Idol asks me to do something, I always jump at the chance. And a lot of people say, "Yeah, you'd be stupid not to." But it's about a lot more than just getting to go on the biggest show in the world. To me, and I say that with a humble heart and just the most sincere genuineness, because from Nigel to Patrick Lynn and Wileen and all these folks that are behind the scene, Norm Betts and Spence, the guys that hand you the mic stands, and you got Pete and you got all these folks. Every year I go back, and that is definitely to see my friends in the band and Ricky Minor and everybody else. It's not just because they'll put a redneck on TV again. So I really am grateful for the opportunities they gave me. And if they asked me to come back or allow me to come back, you better believe I'd do it.
Great. So it's definitely an Idol family.
No, you can believe that wholeheartedly. I get so many people that really like to think about the drama side of some of that Idol stuff. Constantine and I were supposed to really hate each other because we were both rock and roll guys and all this other stuff. But when you look past some of the kind of would-be drama, it's just really a tight-knit family. And we're all just a bunch of very, very lucky people that have incredible fans that have done a whole lot for us. So it's really easy to see how grateful you are.
Oh. Well, Bo, we know that you're a very busy man, so we'll cut it short here.
I'm real busy. I'm sitting here at my house on my couch with my dog rubbing her butt on the floor. Can you believe this? I can't believe this dog. I'm so embarrassed, man. This is my first interview I've ever done Skyping like this and at my home. And my dog does this.
Not bad, huh?
Can you believe this, Melissa?
I haven't heard your dog. She sounds pretty well behaved to me.
She's good half the time.
She's good, yeah. Well, thank you again for taking the time with us. And for those of you who are in the Northeast, you can see Bo this Thursday, January 14th at the Sellersville Theater. You can see him January 15th at the Sherman Theater in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. January 16th at Infinity Hall in Norfolk, Connecticut. Then back to Knoxville, Tennessee on February 16th, the Southbound Bar and Grill. So thank you to Bo Bice. And until next time, I am Melissa Davignon with AI Now.